Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've got the C5 here ready to get started working on, and I thought we'd take a couple minutes to kind of just go over everything that needs to be done to it. Like I said in the last video, I have a laundry list of things that need fixing. So first and foremost, obviously the biggest thing is the torque tube. I need to pop that out, see what kind of damage has happened, and then probably at minimum replace the couplers and the bearings. Hopefully not have to replace the input shaft, but we'll see. While I'm doing that, I'm going to do fluid in the trans and diff just because I have no idea if it's ever been changed, and the car has 109,000 miles, so it's probably time. The next thing is brakes. I'm going to bleed the fluid. I'm going to figure out why it's pulling to the right. I don't know if it's like a stuck guide pin or if it's like a stuck piston or what the hell's going on, but get that figured out. Maybe do a rebuild on the calipers, maybe upgrade to some stainless pistons while I'm in there, but we'll see. Definitely going to be replacing the lines because it's 20-year-old rubber, and you know, stainless braided is always a good line upgrade. After that, it's suspension. I have some suspension parts that I had bought before I even moved that I've been waiting to put in, and so we'll be kind of doing that piece by piece. Like, I want to replace one part at a time and kind of see how that affects handling and how it drives. I've made that mistake in the past where I just slap a bunch of parts on it, and then when something goes wrong or something's not quite the way you want it, you can't really figure out what the cause is without ripping everything out and then doing it one at a time anyway. So, but yeah, the things that need to be fixed on the suspension is it's bouncing off the bump stops. I think that's due to a combination of ride height, and the shocks are probably blown because I didn't replace them, and this thing was in an off-road wreck that was bad enough to blow out 3 of the 4 tires, so it probably blew the shocks as well. And then alignment, which leads into steering. There's a few things wrong with the steering. The first is it feels like there's a lag when turning. There was a couple times on I-90 when I turned to go around a corner and I'd turn the wheel, and then the car would like hesitate before it started actually turning. I don't know if this is a suspension or steering issue or some combination thereof, but that's something to look into. The other thing is there's a vibration in the steering wheel. I don't know if this is like wheels being out of balance. I'd be kind of surprised if that was the case, because I was running this exact wheel tire combination, it was literally these, on my Camaro previously before I put them on this, and I had 0 issues. So I don't think it's that, but it's a quick, easy run to Discount Tire, have them slap it on the machine and check. But it's possible it could be something else. I did have the car aligned before I drove it across the country, but variances in quality of technician and work, and I'm not going to blast anybody on here, but it could be completely off. They could have done kind of a half-assed job, who knows. The last mechanical thing that really needs to happen is the car needs a tune-up. It felt down on power as I was driving across the country. I don't know if this was due to the torque tube kind of disintegrating and if it was causing drag or vibration in the driveline, which was eating power, or if the motor itself is just kind of down on power because I have no idea. The last time it was serviced, I pulled plugs and looked at the plugs, and the plugs looked fine, but that's one part of the whole. So we'll be doing a full tune-up, probably some injector cleaning, as well as spark plugs, wires, the whole 9. And then after that, it's just little things here and there. There's the fuel level sensor issue that I mentioned on the drive, where when you fill the tank up all the way, it reads empty. And then I had a couple times driving across the country where once I hit about a quarter of a tank, it just dropped to E. So get that fixed. I don't know if I should take it apart or if I can just run some Techron through the tank. We'll see. There's the fill neck TSB that I don't think was ever performed on this car. It definitely is affecting how easy it is to fill this thing up. Trying to run any pump on like the slowest automatic setting, I'd get like 2 gallons into the tank before it would shut off, and then I'd have to hold it manually at like the slowest speed. So I'll be diving into that as well. And then after that, it's really just aesthetics. The rocker panels need fixing. The fenders fit like crap, to be honest. I actually have been talking with Corvette Creations about getting another set sent out because there's some actual problems with these. But so far their customer service has been great, and it's just, honestly, we've just been waiting for me to get the car to send them out. So we'll get some new ones out, see if those fit any better. The front bumper needs a little bit of body work. There's some damage right around the passenger headlight, beyond the scratches, obviously. So it's going to be fixing that, getting that, the way it's supposed to be, and then it's just sanding out any scratches and any other damage to the bumper so it can get painted. And then finally we can jump into like modifications, and I haven't fully decided what kind of mods I want to run on this. I keep bouncing between trying to keep this a street car versus turning it into a track monster. So we'll kind of see what that progression looks like as I get more seat time in the car and kind of decide what I want to do. So for now, let's get it up in the air and start pulling it apart.
Alright guys, so here I am getting the car in the air. I did make one mistake in forgetting to loosen the lug nuts before raising it, but that's not a huge deal. There are ways to kind of get around that you'll see me doing here in just a minute. So right now I've got a 2x4 running across the width of the front cross member, and then 2 jack stands supporting that. I didn't want to put all 4 stands on the lifting points, as it would make both getting underneath the car harder than necessary and sliding the longer pieces out like the exhaust mid pipes and the torque tube almost impossible. The rear, however, is on the lifting points, as obviously the cross member wouldn't work since that has to come out with the rear end. So now that the wheels are off, actual disassembly can begin. You need to take the brake calipers off, the upper shock mount and upper control arms, as well as the e-brake bracket and wheel speed sensor connector.
There we go. E-brake cable's undone. Alright. So everything suspension-wise, the only other thing that really needs to be done is, I don't know if you need to disconnect that. I'd rather be more careful than not careful enough. And then undo that clip, and the rest of the clips I can get out from underneath the car. And then it's like undoing the exhaust. Tunnel plate, and then it's the torque tube, unbolting the cradle. You take the whole exhaust out, unbolt the cradle, and then you start dropping it down and slide it out. There's one muffler. Always blows my mind how heavy exhaust is. It never seems like it would be that heavy until you actually hold it in your hands and you're like, oh damn. Something to make note of here is that cat is fucking destroyed. And I just remembered that the O2 sensor check engine light I had was for the passenger, it was bank 2 sensor 2, which is the passenger side. So I'm wondering if that cat is like disintegrated and is the cause of my check engine light. I'll have to double check and see what the error was, whether it was like stuck in, like whether the sensor was reading like stuck in one position, or if it was like just not performing the way it should be. So driver's side cat took a hit as well. I might actually be replacing this shit sooner than I expected. Oh, and seeing evidence of a fluid leak on the oil pan. Interesting. It's one more thing for me to dig into, because it's got a brand new gasket on it. So either there's a leak somewhere on the lower oil pan, and it's got a new upper section of the pan, so either there's a leak there, or that's from like the power steering fluid leak and was just making its way across. So oh, cool. Well, that just happened. What are the odds I can get away with just 2 studs? Slim to none. That's voila. It's on a plate. Up tube. Oh shit. Alright, well, torque tube's out. Took some serious persuading. These pins were pretty stuck on there. But what's funny is, now that the tube is out, I can turn the fan off so you can hear it a bit better. But I don't hear, well, maybe a bit. It's hard to say for certain, but oh, only way to really know is pop her open and take a listen. So let's get her apart. All right, got these big, huge snap ring pliers from Harbor Freight. Not a bad deal. It's $30 for some pretty good looking snap ring pliers. So let's see. There we go. Ooh. God damn, that is a big fucker. Yeah, typically you gotta tap it out with a mallet, so that's what we're gonna go do. I'll leave you here though and watch her come out. All right. All right, let's see. Well, shit. It looks brand fucking new. I mean, brand fucking new. Well, we'll dive into that a little bit later.